Good afternoon and welcome to a webinar from Linköping University. Today we're going to learn more about our master's program in Ecology and Sustainable Development. I'm here with three guests, but before I let them introduce themselves, I'll just go through a few of the practicalities. This webinar is being recorded, so will be available on our webinars page and the program homepage. We are going to be talking for about 20 to 30 minutes, and that part is the part that will be recorded. We'll also then open up for questions from you viewers, but that bit will only be for those of you who are attending live. In the bottom of the screen you'll find a chat function and a Q&A function. Please put your questions in the Q&A section. In the chat say hello to each other, where you're from and so on, but keep the questions in the Q&A section. You can ask questions in the recording as well, and those questions will be forwarded to us. Without further ado, I'll let you guys introduce yourselves. Would you like to start?
I'm Carl-Ove Bergman. I'm an associate professor in conservation biology and a senior lecturer at the master program, Ecology and Sustainable Development.
Thank you.
And my name is Rasmus Widing, and I'm a second year student at this program.
My name is Mandy, and I'm also a second year student at this program.
Brilliant, thank you, thank you. And my name is Therese Winder, and I'm a communications officer at the university. Let's talk a bit about the program. Let's learn more about it. If I start with you, why do we offer this program?
Well, the society of today have very many global challenges that we need to solve, and many of them, if not all of them, are related to the environment. We have like loss of biodiversity, and due to that, ecosystem degradation, soil erosion, water scarcity, and that has enormous effects on the society then. And on top of that, we have climate change also that further complicates this then. And of course, all these kinds of problems needs ecological knowledge if we want to solve them in a sustainable way. And the aim of this program then is to prepare students to apply their ecological knowledge to solve these problems.
Mm-hmm. So it's kind of biology centered.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ecology, but interacting with the society to find sustainable solutions. So that's what the program is all about.
Thank you. And you too, you're now in your second year, but why did you choose this program?
I can go first. I did my bachelor here at Linköping University, so that's when I really got hooked on the ecology part. I had Kalle also there during my 3 years, and when I was down there I felt, well, I've learned a lot, but I still need to learn. I want to learn more. I want to get a deeper understanding of ecology and what I can do. So that's, I was thinking, should I apply somewhere else? But then I'm here now, and I got some contacts with the teachers, and I heard this program is really good, and they included some internship and a year-long master thesis. So that's why it drew me in to stay here and continue my studies here.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And what about you, Mandy?
I did my bachelor's in biology, so there's a lot of different things you learn in that time. And I realized I was really into ecology, but more than that into conservation work, or I wanted to learn about conservation work. And I didn't get any education about that. And when I found this program, I thought it would be the right fit to learn more and to see if that's for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And have you enjoyed it?
Yeah, for sure.
Good. I'm glad. Let's have a look at the structure of the program. We have a slide. It's a 2-year program, which is split into 4 semesters. But let's start with semester 1. You begin with methods. I think that's quite...
Methods in ecology, yeah.
Tell
Basically give you the tools to work with ecological questions as a student. So it's about system thinking. You work also to analyze data, to extract data from scientific literature, and so like a basic course with giving them a lot of tools to be able to continue.
What, theoretical
Both
course?
Theoretical and a little bit of field work in that part also.
Well. Okay. And this is, so these 4 courses that you see in the first semester, they are all mandatory? Or
yes.
yeah. So you do that for Also, I should say that the semester is about 20 weeks. So do these take up the same amount of time? No, the modelling is a longer course than the others.
Yeah, slightly longer, yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
Let's have a look though at the population ecology. What do you do in that course?
Well, it's all about populations of animals and plants, then to look in the concepts and theories of population ecology and the application then to environmental problems, because we are sort of looking into conservation of species, of course, that's all about populations, but also biological control and these kind of things that are related to how populations behave.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And what was your experience of these? I mean, these two first courses. Do you remember?
Yeah. The first one was it was like you got really thrown into it. It was like a bit different from the bachelor, but it was so it was a bit stressful in the beginning. But then you got into the work, but it was really good. Like it was a good introduction for what we are gonna do during this year.
Yeah, I think that's where you kind of got a taste of what the year would be like.
Okay.
So that's where you start with your first computer work, with analyzing data, but you also go out in field a little bit, where you do infographics and see that there's more about this topic than just what you learn. It has to do with communities and ecology and biology and politics. So
and how you communicate.
and how you
knowledge.
communicate all of that knowledge. So I think that's where you see what this whole year kind of will be like in a compressed form, I would say.
And was it different compared to the academic setting that you had been in before?
I would say for me very much so, because I studied in Austria and Italy before. So things here in Sweden are done quite differently to what I'm used to, but in a really good way.
Okay, in what way? Have you got any examples?
So there's a lot more teamwork. It's very much based on communicating with other people and working together, and more about solving problems than just learning things by heart. So I think this is more a problem-solved learning process than just knowing facts.
Yeah. And this was something that you were familiar with from your bachelor.
Yeah, but it became more independent during this master's, because you don't have. Of course, you had assistance of the teachers, but not as much. Like it's more you need to figure this out by yourself. You read different reports and get your own information and stuff.
That you then bring into kind of a team setting.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's was so good with all these courses. It's like you could work in groups, even if you turn it in independently. You could work together and like learn together, and like there wasn't no written exams. You sat there together, learned together, and then turned in different reports or went on seminars or.
Okay. Thanks. So that was the first half of the first semester, and the rest of the autumn semester. Let's have a look. So you have modelling of biological systems and ecosystem services. Can you tell us more about those courses?
Yeah. So modelling is sort of after the population ecology, understanding how populations might be affected by harvest and these kind of things. Let's say you have a question: how will this fish population be affected by increased harvest or something? Then in this course you learn how to build models to estimate the effects. So you build your own models in this course. So first you ask a question, and then you put the factors together, and then you try to build your own models.
Okay. So again, in a way, learning how to communicate your findings and making them and kind of predicting.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So we need to be able to say something for the future, like 100 years time or 10 years time. We need some models to base these predictions on.
Okay. And then the last one, ecosystem services in CSR. CSR stands for?
CSR, corporate social responsibility, and that is a company thing.
Yep.
And this is actually a pretty cool course, because you are working together with civil engineers in industrial economy to sit together with ecologists, and they have a case study with regard to sustainability that they need to solve together with a sustainable solution. It's about optimizing restoration of rainforest. And that results in pretty interesting discussions.
Yeah, you get like a much more interdisciplinary approach.
Yes.
Which is what will happen or what will need to happen once you're out working. Which one what was your favorite? Your course in the first semester?
It's quite hard. I think I liked all of them because none of them were just one thing. So each course always incorporated writing, but also coding, and also presenting stuff and teamwork, or being also really creative and making infographics. So I think no course is just one thing. So you always have to do different disciplines in every single course. So
I think I gotta say it was the conservation course because partly because you got to try to like, okay, you have a specific budget to restore a part of a rainforest. How will you do this? So like it was a lot of reading on it, how you could do it, what plants are native there, which are the best, but also working in different programs as in GIS to like map it and draw the area you wanted to restore, and then working another program called Invest, which like see which benefits will we get if we restore a forest patch close to the river in carbon sequestration or cleaning the water and stuff like that.
Okay, so you kind of like if you kind of just look at the name ecology and sustainable development, you think well it's biology, but it seems really broad. It takes in quite a lot of other perspectives as well.
Yeah, in this case it's also about economics for the society and benefits for the society. So, and of course, to optimize things, the society also need to profit on the ecosystems, of course, and you can do this in different ways. And this course is all about optimizing all these things, and also the company then with the branding for the company. What can they do? Can they benefit also from being a sustainable company? So all of these questions was up at the same time, and then trying to produce some infographics to communicate this makes it fun, hopefully.
Yeah, it sounds it. It sounds it. It sounds kind of more, rather than sitting with, on your own with books and kind of reading about certain things, you
really
get this different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels like you do it for real, even if it's just theoretical work. It feels like this is something you could be doing in the future. So it feels it's a really good experience.
Okay. Let's have a look at the next. I think you're getting some heart eyes. So I think it's good what you're saying. Thank you for those emojis. There they are. What about the second semester? So that's the spring semester of your first year. You got another 4 mandatory courses?
Yes.
Yeah. Tell us a bit more about those.
The first one is we go even more into case studies now. This time you have real questions from the society with regard to agriculture, forestry and fisheries, like this production of these things. So one thing was, for example, can a golf course create biodiversity?
Can it?
Yeah, it can, absolutely, if you do it in the right way. Or can we go from clear cutting to continuous cover forestry, so change the forestry? That was a question from the municipality. So you have real stakeholders in this course to act against. And I think, again...
I think that, again, brings us element of realness to it and understanding what you can actually do with the knowledge that you're gaining.
Yeah. And then reading up and deliver something that is evidence-based and relevant for them.
And then the next course, I know that I'm quite excited to hear more about. The next course is case studies in conservation and sustainable development.
Yes, and this is a course where you link conservation of ecosystems with sustainable development. Basically, the question that the whole world is asking, can we do this? And we look at it's a case centered around different habitats, and it goes everything from picking out specific umbrella species, indicator species, and present research plans for them, down to, in the end, if we can conserve these species and at the same time address sustainable development for the local societies. And this is a a case presented by WWF that is actually also coming to the course. So it's also a real case, or as real as you can get it. Yes, they are actually these kind of questions that WWF is
Just how to combine the conservation bit that's so necessary with the fact that humans are also here, you know. And
absolutely, so you really need to combine these things, otherwise we will fail.
But within this course, there is also a field trip.
An optional field trip to actually visit these habitats that you are working with. So
if we go to the next slide, you'll see some photos.
Yeah, here are 4 of these habitats actually where we have been working with, and the students that have been visiting these type of habitats in Ecuador. Andean Paramo, that's the high altitude habitats, and Choco Cloud Forest, the mid altitude, like 1,000, 2,000 meters on the western side of the Andes, and then eastern side of the Andes that has different species, and then of course going down to the lowland Amazon also then. And it's pretty amazing to see the students when they were actually able to visit the areas that they have been working with theoretically for
I can imagine, and it's so diverse with the different kind of the habitats, so within the same place.
Yeah.
How long do they go for?
This is 2 weeks.
Okay.
So 14 days.
14 days.
In the field here.
Okay. Can we have a look at a few more slides? If we keep going to the next slide. So that's which part of that? Is that the
that's
lowland?
the whole group, yeah. And
Lowland?
this is Choco.
Okay.
Choco rainforest.
So that's the whole group?
The whole group, and we take, we make every day, we have presentations of the different groups responsible for their habitats, presenting what they have been looking at as this specific habitat with regard to species and conservation and everything. And so we make everyday trips along trails and so on.
So everybody who wants to go can go?
Yes.
Or is there a limit?
There is a limit of 24 that we haven't reached. So either you go on this trip, there is a cost for this trip, and some students wants to go, and some students are just continuing the course back home with a debate project. This is also an interesting part of the course then.
Okay. And then there's two more images just to show you a bit. And this is the which bit?
Yeah, this is the eastern Andes now.
Okay, that's the eastern.
So you see all the mosses high up in the high altitude forest, and they do some field work. So this specific group is responsible to teach the other groups to do some specific field work and come up with some interesting results, and then they present these results in then for the groups, and we set camera traps and so on. So we do some field work together with presentations on the field trip.
Is that kind of what you do in other courses as well, but in different settings in Sweden? Is this kind of could this be not a typical day, but could this be an illustration of part of another course as well, or is this specific to this course?
A few of the courses have some excursions, and in some other courses you have more of modeling and presentation, or infographics, or writing reports. And what you know more about this?
There's one part in, I don't remember if it was in this course, when we went out to both a nature reserve and looked at the amount of deadwood and stuff, and looked at clear cut and like see how the Swedish forestry is handling.
No, that's actually this course also.
Yeah.
So we do a visit to the Swedish nature also on this course. So all of the students do that. Yeah.
Okay. And then there's one or two more images. I think there's one more.
One more, yeah. Yes.
You can make friends while you're there.
Giant earthworms
Wow.
and squirrel monkeys, and of course hummingbirds that you see a lot of, and yeah.
Yeah. So it's quite a special course.
Quite a special
course.
Yeah.
And then the other two, I'm going to go back to that slide, but the other two courses for the rest of that semester, they were internship, and it was preparation for the masters.
Yes.
So the internship, I think it's not on this because it's still a second slide, but I think the internship is interesting. Is that something all students do as part of the program?
Yes, it is.
So, and that's how many weeks?
6 weeks.
Yeah. And I think if you go to the next, keep going slides, sorry. Poor Luke is, so if you keep going to the image, next one after that one. There we go. And that, I think, is you.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are you doing in this picture?
So I did an internship on Öland, so in Sweden. It's a little island. And I was at a entomology research lab. And I learned to identify all insects by order. And then I also learned how to identify all Hymenoptera families. So what you know as wasps and bumblebees and
Okay.
yeah, all those things. So I learned a lot in those 6 weeks, and I saw like how you work in a lab and also take data outside. So that was a really cool time for me.
Were you outside a lot? I mean, was this...
In my internship, I was inside a lot. For my master thesis, I was outside a lot. So I had two extremes.
Two different.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's so if we go and the Öland visit, that was for your
Internship.
That was also
Yeah.
for the internship.
Yeah.
And then the next photo. If we there we go. That is you.
That is me, yes.
That is you. And what are you doing?
I'm looking at the lichens there, so on the picture for my master thesis. But on the other pictures, I was at the county administrator's office of Dalarna, which is a county more up north in Sweden, where I was on the nature conservation department. So I worked partly with the species that are threatened here, and they had different programs for them. So I was out there doing inventory of, for example, that flower, seeing how it was a flower that's likes fires, and seeing how it was there, and did it increase or not, and what effects of what we had done did it. Yeah.
Okay.
And some nature conservation fires to.
So these fires is actually to increase the habitat quality for this plant.
For that plant. Okay. Because some plants thrive on the kind of I don't know the burnt ashes, I suppose. Yeah. So the internship. Do we help students find an internship, or did you guys find your own?
They need to find it themselves, but I give them. I can also assist in giving some ideas, and I usually give them a list of the former places where we had students. So it has been some has been abroad, WWF India, but most of them are in Sweden, municipalities, county administration boards, or companies, or NGOs, you name it. All of these places where you can work with environmental
But
question.
it's quite easy to find. Right.
Yeah, so far no student has been without internship.
That's good. That's good. That's all I wanted to hear. So you do that, and then you start preparing for the master's thesis, which is a whole year, which is different to a lot of programs. In a lot of programs, it's 1 semester, but you get to spend the whole year doing it. What kind of so you were looking at butterflies?
Yeah.
You were looking at.
I was looking at the deadwood and the species connected to them. So I was looking specifically at lichens, mosses, and wood fungi.
Okay, so you were doing this. You were outside a lot, and
Yeah.
you're still doing it.
I'm still doing it. I'm just taking a pause because it came some snow, and I can't find my species on the deadwood if the snow is covering it.
Oh, and what about your butterflies?
I did it all summer long.
You did it all
So
summer.
I
okay.
worked all summer long.
It's worth bearing in mind. What do you want to look for?
Yeah,
and
do it in summer. No.
well, I'm sure there are other things you can look at in the winter, right?
Absolutely. But, I mean, you both did field-oriented master thesis work, but also quite many do theoretical works and modeling of species and so on. So it's a number of different things that you can do.
Yeah, that you can do. And what about so during the program before your thesis? Are there a lot of exams, or is it mainly, as you said, group work, presentations, kind
There
of
are
reports?
no exams in this program. There is only you turn in projects or reports.
A lot of presentations.
Yeah, either in groups or individually.
Thank you. So now that we've talked about the program, who is the program aimed at? I mean, you need a degree in biology.
You need at least a little bit of background in biology, conservation biology, or sustainable development with a little bit of ecology in it, and then this program is for you.
And personality. I mean, what do you think? What's the kind of key ingredient in a person's personality to kind of be successful on this program?
I think you should be able to take the initiative to do your own work, because even if it is a lot of teamwork, like you should give a lot to the team. Like everyone should do their own work. And it is a lot of work even if you're still in a team. So you should be able to show initiative, do your own work, and be able to communicate well with other people and get along well with other people to reach a good end process, I would say.
I think you really need to be driven for wanting to work in the future in biology or ecology, like to make this work, because if you're just, I'm a bit interested, it won't fit you, I think. You need to want it.
You need to want it. And I think it's a good thing that you do mention this thing about, well, two things really, that it's a full-time program, so it's 40 hours, and you do need to dedicate that, so it doesn't necessarily leave room for part-time work, and especially if you have to focus your time certain times of the year, it means it might be more hours because you have to kind of, make use of summer, for example. But also the importance of the fact that when you're in a group and working and doing different parts, that everybody has to pull their weight. It's not, it's not like, oh, this is great, there's 4 of us doing this report, I can,
No, it won't be like that.
Even if you're in a group, you feel like we need more time of the week, we can't do this.
But you kind of learn from the others, but you're also expected to contribute a lot. So what about, if we're going to move on to questions in a minute, but I want to hear a bit about, your experience as students and kind of student life, but being a student here. What do you think?
Well, I think it's a great city to be a student in. It's not a large town, but it's get this kind of big city feeling, but still not too many people.
There's a huge campus here, so there's a lot of students, and therefore also a lot of student life, a lot of associations. It will be quite easy to make friends, I would say. So I think it's a great town for study.
Okay. Do you find is it different, like way of life compared to what you're used to?
Yes, everyone is very kind.
Okay.
So you'll be really happy here, I think.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's really good. And then future, what do you want to do with this degree? Do you know yet, or are you just focusing now on getting your master's thesis and then, or are you going to spend your life looking at deadwood?
Maybe. Well, I want to work with protecting forests and like finding areas that need protections, like very species rich and many threatened species in that area. So I want to work at maybe a county administration's board, or a company that does inventory for those, maybe, or other government organization, and like be out there and try to find them and work to protect them. And I think this degree will really help me to do that.
You do that. What about you?
I would second that. I think from my thesis I've seen that I really liked this work where you are outside and see yourself how things actually look, and then you take that data and work with that data. So I would like to be involved in all steps of the work. I wouldn't want to just do one side of things. So I would really love to like really be involved in work, or like also for organizations. That would be really fun.
Okay.
But we'll see.
We'll see what you end up doing. What do students tend to do? I mean, do you have experience? Are you still in touch with old students?
Absolutely. Actually, I meet a lot of my former students when I'm working now. Some of them are researchers, some of them are at the county administration boards. We have one working at the forest company, one of the students that you are working together with sometimes. And I mean, also ecological consultancy companies with a lot of former students, so they end up sort of everywhere.
And I think with this sustainable development, I think CSR, I think that's is that a hot topic as well at the moment?
It is really a hot topic, and we have made some studies, and we saw that 90% of our students actually have a job in line with their studies. So
That's a high figure. That's really good. That's really high.
Really high.
Well, that's good. Good. I think this sounds really exciting, actually. One last question before we move on. So this is going to be the end of the recorded part. But one piece of advice for, go back, talk to yourself from 2 or 3 years ago. What would you say? I wish I had done this.
Be prepared to sacrifice a lot of time, because you will need to do it. Like it's a really good dedication, and it's really fun, but also a lot.
A lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
I would say don't be scared to ask questions, because from my background of studying, it's a lot more listening and not really questioning things or being involved. And I think that's a really big thing here, that you are actually involved and you're allowed to ask questions. So I think be brave to do that.
Be brave to do that.
You'll learn a lot from it.
Yeah. That's a good, because I think it's, it's first name basis. I heard you, refer to him as Kalle. It's not doctor, it's not professor. It's kind of, you're there to teach and guide, I think, the students in their learning, rather than be there to kind of correct them and catch them out.
Absolutely. These case studies that a lot of courses is based on is actually, that is, you need questions from the students. Otherwise, it won't work. So it works by asking questions, and that's the way forward. And with a lot of contact with other students and the teachers, and then that's the way forward.
I think that's the way in how you get, how you move forward in what you will do as well, in kind of seeking answers to challenges.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think we're going to move on to the questions. So just for those of you who are watching the recording, have a look at our Instagram page. It's linköping.university. You've posted there.
Yeah, I'm on there.
You're on there. It's run by our students. We have a group of students who help us. And they do a week each. So you can have, you get a glimpse of into everybody's life. There's also a blog, International Program Students at LIU. Really nice and short. You're right in there as well, aren't you?
I'm on there as well.
Yeah, so it's good, but it's really good, because I think, a lot of the stuff you've said, but you're sharing a lot of what you've done here, but also the journey here, what to kind of, how to apply, or, the accommodation, and, a lot of good things. So have a look. And I think also have a look at the program page. I think that's, look at it, make sure that you know what's required, specific requirements, for example. Make sure you know all the deadlines. The application closes on the 16th of January, for example. These are things that you just need to get up to speed with. And if you have questions, you can just still ask them in the Q&A, and they'll be forwarded to us. So to those of you watching this recording, thank you very much.